So, firstly, thank you, SIB and Nagpur, for inviting. I think great audience, great TEDx sessions already. And what we are talking about is voice of change. I have been 22 years into digital, but in the last 4 years, the amount of content, the amount of information which is coming to us is, a lot. And, we have three content creators today as TEDx speakers as well. So even in the room, I was hearing a lot of content, a lot of creation happening. We are hearing a lot, but we are listening less. We are watching a lot of content, but we are not seeing through. And this content and information has created a fog of noise in our heads many times. But during this journey, when we keep watching content almost, I think, 2 hours a day, plus OTT content, I think that's the general, number of hours that people are watching content today. And that is something, it's just increasing day by day. And which is why we have a lot of content creators growing in the ecosystem. And, that is going to grow further. While during this journey, I mean, all of us hear a voice which just cuts through. And today in my journey, I'm here to talk about these voices which changed me as a person and, changed my journey towards the success that I have been able to achieve and towards the growth I have been able to get, and how these voices help me repeat it again and again with a structure that we formed, to kind of choose the right things. And, that's the journey I will take you through. So trekking is a hobby which is very close to me. I started very casual trekking in Maharashtra. A lot of you guys might be doing that. Shivaji has built around 600 forts in Maharashtra, and we used to do a lot of weekend treks during this time. So it started with a casual hobby, but slowly and gradually, as we grow, we try to aim higher. And that's what, personally I did. I did Everest Base Camp, and then, went for a trek called Sarpas Trek in Manali. And, these things kind of helped me challenge myself as a person. But then I tried to go for the longest trek in Asia, which is Tok Kangri in Ladakh. And that was a challenge many a times I wasn't expecting. I don't know how many of you have been to Ladakh, but the oxygen levels in Ladakh are strikingly low. So in trekking, we have a basic rule. Every one step that you take is equivalent to one breath. However, in Ladakh, for every step that you take, you have to take 3 breaths, right? Especially around 2 to 3 breaths is what, we were taking at the start of the journey. And at the later, when we were closer to the peak, it became like 5, 7, 10 breaths before we take every step. However, and during this journey, while I was looking at the Tok Kangri peak from far, we were still 9 days away to climb the peak. Every step was, feeling like a burden, and I was getting very stressed. And while I was getting stressed during that time, I used to just walk and, look at my feet to just gain my breath again. And that was making me calmer. I did it again in the next 2-3 days journey, and I looked at the peak, I looked at my shoes. I used to feel very calm when I was looking at my shoes. I don't know why did that happen, but that impacted my mind a lot. And I decided to hear to my inner voice. My voice told me that, why are you looking at the peak if you're getting stressed? Why don't you just look at your shoes? And that's what I did. I committed myself so much to the process that every step I was taking, I was just looking at this step ahead. And I was not looking at what I have to do 6 days down the line, climbing the peak, 7 days down the line. And this was the small steps that I was taking in the journey kind of made me complete day 1, day 2, day 3. And slowly and gradually, I saw that, we were going closer and closer to the peak. Also, in the journey, there were 2 groups formed. One was the group of marathon runners, another was group of the slow people, because somewhere the Sherpa who was guiding us was feeling that, the slow people are, slowing the entire group down. And, while we were trying to gain confidence of ourselves, we were having a Sherpa who was telling us, I don't have confidence on you, right? So this this moment of doubt, this philosophy helped me that just focus on the next step that you're taking, and slowly and gradually you will kind of get closer to the peak. I use the same analogy for my ISB interview. When I went for my personal interview at ISB, I told them about what I learned during the trek. And they asked me what are the learnings that to derive from the entire process. I said it's always important that you look at the and this is the exact image which AI gave me while I was looking at my shoes. I told in the interview that commit yourself to the process and still have the ambition to move forward. It's not always the ambition which drives you. It's also the hard work, it's also the commitment to the process which takes you very closer to your goal, and eventually you go on to reach there. And this is the inner voice which mattered the most to me. And slowly and gradually, we made it to the trek. We reached at the top of the peak on the 9th day, and it was a very proud moment for me. If you see, I'm completely breathless. The person who was taking my picture was asking me to, come exactly close to the peak so I can see the, other mountains from the peak. But I was like, let me take a breath, and you can, see that reaction. One of the voices that also impacted me, apart from, my own voice, is many a times we come into situations where we have to convince people around us, we have to listen to our mentors, listen to our family members, and definitely this is something you will learn from Mahabharata as well. Not always have a fight, but sometimes listening to the entire journey and what you want to be as a person. And this conversation I started off with my dad, who was a very close friend, and we were discussing after my 12th, what career should I be taking? My dad wanted me to be very safe, take up mechanical engineering like he did, but being the talkative person, traveling person, and I used to love traveling, talking to people. I was still thinking, can that be a career? Nowadays it is. With content creation, you can actually travel the world and create that kind of content. But at that point in time, when I was looking for the personalities which shape up me as a person, I was not able to see a career in that. So what I personally did, I told my dad that I can't see myself doing engineering and being with machines all the time. That is not me as a person, and that also for 4 years. The entire thought just scared me. And I wanted to change the entire mindset of my dad. However, he was very open to the conversation. He was very approachable. What we did was, I told my dad that let's give it a try. So we went to some colleges in South India, and while the journey, we started discussing, and he started asking me, what is it that I want to do as a person? What I did was, I went back to the drawing board, made up a plan. That honest answer was, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I know for sure I need some time for myself to think of what I want to do. So at that point in time, BSc Computer Science just started. Along with BMS, I chose BSc Computer Science because it was close to engineering, and it would convince my dad much faster than doing my BMS. So I chose BSc Computer Science. Along with that, I chose careers of diploma in software technology, along with my BSc Computer Science. And then I chose event management. I mean, they came into our college, presented what event management is all about. Now that journey shaped my career completely and made me the person I am today. And I just love talking to people, presenting, because I used to work on different events, just like this TEDx is being organized. And that is what reshaped my career. 15 years later, me and my dad were definitely sitting about how has my career shaped up, how has my choices got implemented, and both of us were very happy of what the choices that we make. Now, like you see in this diagram, choices are not always easy. Listening to your voice is not always easy, because there are different influences that influence you as a person. There is family, there are situations, there are different dimensions and decisions that you want to take. There are your ambitions and values that drive you as a person, because many a times you want to make certain choices for your family, but then you have your ambition which is way going in separate directions. And that is the time you have to look in your inner side and make the choices that matter the most to you as a person, right? Which are known as life choices. However, one of the things that I adopted personally is to create a sweet balance and try to balance family with my ambitions and with influence of people around me, my friends, my family members, my mentors, and that is what made an impact in my entire journey. However, one doubt always came into my mind: can I repeat success again and again? How can I build a structure around my career and my life which doesn't lead to downfall? And in the same journey, what does actually success mean for me? Right? Because we can easily write what success is, but it means different for different people. Right? So life often presents us with a different crossroad, and each one of us, have to carry the power of choice. Now, the reason we call choice a power is it has the opportunity to shape up your career as a person. Like in my case, it did. A small discussion with my dad shaped up the entire journey that I had during the course of my career. After doing my BSc Computer Science, I secured really good grades, but I still chose sales as a career. And that journey and that decision or discussion with my dad helped me shape my career, and which is why I call choice a power. And which is why you have to always listen to your inner voice to exercise this power. Otherwise, you'll never be able to, be what you are as a person. One of the things I'm very thankful about to my partner, and as I told you, we have created a structure that really works for us beautifully as a family. We have made a choice to remain happy. Now, of course, it's a very difficult choice. I mean, we go through a lot of struggles in our college, house, work, and maintaining the balance to be happy. I have a daughter, Khushi, and son, Prithvi, so we keep joking around that we have all the happiness on this earth. But we strive day in, day out to actually mean that, and that matters to us a lot as a family, right? So, and I also got inspired really from a movie called The Pursuit of Happiness. How many of you have looked at the movie? Right? So that movie, while it shows you the struggle of a father and a son, the entire topic of the pursuit of happiness is something which brings a charm to you, right? Because happiness is not just reaching a certain goal. It is a journey. It is something you make yourself realize day in, day out that you choose to be happy. And this is a choice which you need to exercise as a power, and this is a choice you need to make it. It is not a choice which can just happen. It can be a big struggle you're going through your life, but a small thing that your mom makes and you eat in the morning breakfast makes you very happy. Right? So these are the small choices that you exercise on a day-to-day. The other choice that we made is, the choice to succeed. Now, like we saw in the previous diagram, is that that the choice to succeed is a choice that you make as a part of your life choice. So ambition is something which drives that choice. And you can clearly define the structure of these choices that you make. Now, there are two concepts which really help me drive my success again and again. One is the nothing to lose mindset. Now, the nothing to lose mindset kind of helps me get into any situation consistently and learn from that situation. Today, as I told you, that a lot of startups are coming in. These startups are using this mindset. Now, what this mindset tells you is you get into any situation in your life with a mindset of nothing to lose, and you always end up gaining. And even if you fail, you end up learning and not repeating those mistakes again and again. So this is how I have structured my life with this mindset. The second mindset which has helped me, which my mentors Gulshan Verma and Pritesh Patel have taught me, is the victor versus victim mindset. Now, when you go back to the graph and you kind of look at choices that you have, a victor always tries to control their situations, while a victim always says, "Yaar, this has happened to me, this will happen to me, Bhagwan aisa kar dega," right? So while of course there are certain situations which are beyond your control, but maybe you can take a break from that situation, maybe you can take a step back and bounce back. So a victor always thinks like, when will be my turn to bounce back? What is the decision that I can take to ensure that I don't fall back in life? And these choices between your life, your situations, are something which gives you the power. And for that, you need to constantly keep listening to yourself and reminding yourself. The third choice that I have made is having a great network and a lot of social connections. What has changed from the person I was and I am today is definitely I am doing the same thing digitally as well. Right? Previously, I was just focused on personal network, my family, my friends. But today, it's needless to say that having a great digital persona, a digital profile is very important. How you shape up your digital persona is actually creating a lot of opportunities for you. And I'm sure there are a lot of speakers who will talk more about it. But your digital persona today is very important. And that power of digital persona has created a lot of opportunities for me in this journey. Giving you an example, this TEDx invite also came through LinkedIn, right? So I believe in the power of digital, and your social connections should be your power choices that you are going to make. And that is something that I have followed. Together, these three choices has created a beautiful balance in my life. A choice to remain happy and not giving up on your ambitions, and still, being with your friends and family. What is success for you if you're unable to, celebrate it with people around you? And which is why, for me, people are most important, who are my friends, family, mentors. So these connections are something that, help me, the person I am. And this has always happened because I've always heard my inner voice in a strong manner and try to counter situation in a structured format and still choose on the things that I love to do. This was the voice that I heard, and the change that I have lived as a person. And I would definitely recommend all the students and everyone to kind and follow a process that you can. Thanks a lot.